puppet masters pulling strings. We'll strip away the power, hear our piercing screams. Yeah, we won't be silenced anymore. Break free from the chains that they adore. Unrig the game we rise. We'll bring reality from their lies. Unrig the game, unleash the fury.
Greetings and welcome to Unrig the Game. How's everybody doing this evening? Hope you're all living and doing well. Wow, sliding sideways here right before, of course, like 5 minutes before I was supposed to start, my browser crashed and then I had to reboot. So, and of course, I wanted to update too. I was like, okay, well, there you have it. Let's say hello to our VIPs in the front row. We got quite a few tonight. Wolfram in here early doing the good work, dropping links. Thank you, Wolfram. Thank you so much. Arlene, how you doing? I see ya. How you been? Daisy Girl Williams holding down the Rumble side. Hello, Daisy. How you doing? Wolfram wipes his paws, lips, in and howls. Thanks again for dropping those links. All right. Great to see everybody. So happy y'all are here. We got a great show in store for you this evening. And we're going to do some time here on all 3 platforms on the YouTube side. And I've got a great little bit of content for us. I'm going to start off with an eye-opening story about the Klaus Schwab and the WEF's newest attempt to shape our realities. That might alarm many of you, especially those of you who have animals as companions. Yeah. So we're gonna open up with that and have some other really cool things to get us started here tonight. We're gonna spend about almost an hour here on the YouTube side, and then we'll go to the free speech platforms exclusively, Rumble and X, and we will then read chapter 8 of Controligarchs, Mainstream Mind Control. This one ought to be good, right up our alleys, right? Yeah, definitely. And I also got some really cool stuff at the end here. We're gonna watch a interview with Tucker Carlson and Brent Weinstein about the World Health Organization's new agenda and what they have planned, and I'm gonna have some stuff to go along with that. Oh yeah, and also in all this talk about our world shaping up, I thought it'd be cool to do a comparison between 1984 and Brave New World. That will be at the end as well. So after we complete our chapter for the evening, we will then talk about we'll do that comparison and do the interview with Tucker Carlson and Brent Weinstein. So action-packed night. Also, as we are on chapter 8 of Controligarchs, we have to note that we only have 2 more chapters left, and then an epilogue and a note to readers and end credits. So it's like that's about 9 minutes total on that last part. So we're probably going to tie all that into chapter 10, which is the end game. Chapter 9 is the dystopian present. That'll send me next week. And so basically 2 more weeks left of Controligarchs, and then we will be going on to our next reading adventure. And to start off with the big news of the evening, I have 2 selections for us. And since you guys are all here and have been here for the ride, I wanted to make sure that everybody had a say. I think I know which one we're going to do next. In fact, I'm pretty sure I do, but I want to know if perhaps somebody out there has a good reason for us to do it the other way around. So, as you know, your opinions do matter. Let's see. How can I Is that off? No. Well, dang, it sure is. Hang on one second. Should be better. Okay, cool. Just getting everything straight here on my end. All right, hopefully that will be good. Okay. And then as I go back to the screen, I'll be gone. Hey, cool gamer, what's up? How you doing? Cool. All right. So yeah. Oh, look, we got gifted memberships rolling in. Get that ready. Talking Trash and Truths, thank you for the gifting 5 memberships to the Winner's Circle. I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much. And right after this is for all the new members.
It's cold. A big blanket knobs. It has to do. I can't imagine a more beautiful thing. It's cold. I can tell you all about it. I mean, look at this thing. When I try to get out of anything.
All right, to all of our new members of the Winner's Circle, 5 get the memberships from Talking Trash and Tooth. Cool gamer, welcome to the Winner's Circle. How you doing? You got it. Free membership. That's awesome. Sarcastic Leo, To Be Flair, welcome back. Thomas Anderson, welcome back. And D. All right. Cool Gamer, is that the first time you got one of those? I think that's Cool Gamer's first gifted membership. That's awesome. So happy that you got one because you are always here and I really do appreciate it. That's great. I know that Chili's happy about that too. All right. So let me get this going on. All right. So let's get started. Oh, yeah, that's right. I was in the middle of talking about something. Okay, so we have 2 books that be careful with this. All right. We got 2 books that we are going to be we have on deck. And I'm going to go ahead and show them to you now and then you can take a look and we can hey lady, I'm Sky, how you doing? She says good evening to you, Wolfram. Yeah. Did you get one too? I'm sorry, I must have missed that. Oh, wait, okay. She's just saying thanks for gifting them. That's awesome. Thank you for thanking her. I just don't want to leave you out. Okay, cool. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Present. All right, so here's the 2 books that I found so far. Yeah. All right. All right, here we go. So we have The Great Awakening, Defeating the Globalists and Launching the Next Great Renaissance. It's the brand new book by Alex Jones. It's the one he's been talking about in the interviews and also has the what do you call it? What he says are solutions at the end of it. So he says it's packed full of solutions. So that's one. I thought that would kind of go well as a book into this one. Kind of after we learned all about them, then we kind of get another take on it, what it takes to beat them, right? So what do you guys think of that one? And then the other one is Woke Inc. That's Inside Corporate America's Social Justice Scam by Vivek Ramaswamy. This is actually written a few years back, and it's actually narrated by Vivek. So we got The Great Awakening and Woke Inc. are the 2 that I've got here. And basically, the Woke Inc. says a young entrepreneur makes his case that politics has no place in business and sets out a new vision for the future of American capitalism. And then the Great Awakening says that in the Great Awakening, defeating the globalists and launching the next great renaissance, the most persecuted man on earth, Alex Jones gives you the good news about the failing plans of the globalists to control humanity. So there you have it. So what do you guys think? I will throw a poll out there just to see. Which book? Would you like to read next? I'm just going to type this up real quick. All right. And go. All right. Now it's in your hands, crowd. It's in your hands. And as you think about that, let's go ahead and get to our first story of the evening. We're going to bring in our friends from Redacted. Now, this is the one I was telling you about that may be a little bit disheartening to folks who keep pets, because it turns out, in case you haven't heard, in case you couldn't have guessed, that good old Klaus Schwab and the WEF cronies wants to take your dogs and your cats away. That's right. You know, guess why? Why do you think they want to do that? Well, let's hear.
Warming. That's what globalists would like. Well, it's your cat or dog that's causing global warming. That's what globalists would like you to think, so that they can convince you not to have a domestic pet. In the words of Dorothy, if you come for my dog, I'll bite you myself. So this story was flagged by a friend of the show, Jim Ferguson, and lo and behold, he's right. The rhetoric around eating meat, not traveling, giving up plastic straws is in fact now being extended to household pets. They are coming for your dogs and cats. In fact, in 2019, this study was published to try to calculate what they're calling the EPP. That's the ecological paw print of domestic animals, mostly dogs and cats, because they're causing global warming, they say. Now, the study is hysterical. It says that because humans want to take such good care of their pets, that means we use up more resources and drive up carbon emissions. So, you know, that fluffy pet bed that you bought for your doggy? Yep. Bad for
there
the
it
earth.
is. There's what's causing
Fuels.
climate change right there.
The fact that you feed your dog with food with meat in it, well, that's based on the flawed assumption that meat is bad for the planet. We've discussed this at length, but let's just agree that this is not a slam dunk of a scientific conclusion that meat is bad for the planet, but it is in pet food. So they're saying it's a bad thing. But you know what? Some of the foods that humans eat that have the smallest carbon emission because they can be made in factories to scale are candy and processed food. So you'd have to think that comparatively pet food is pretty low on the spectrum of carbon emissions, but also this study is based on the unproven conclusions that greenhouse gas emissions are responsible for climate change. Again, we've discussed this at length, but I'll just say again, that is not a scientific slam dunk that all scientists agree on that. There is much debate about these models, not only whether carbon emissions are bad, but whether humans cause them. Whether dog food causes it, though, is really a stretch. Still, the study says that dogs are responsible for this much greenhouse gas emissions and paw prints. Remember this EPP, they're trying to get you to
look at that. Look at all that climate change. Missions of companion dogs in the Netherlands, Japan, and China. Look at all that. Yep. We should have known.
Think about your dog in terms of its EPP. They studied these three places, the Netherlands, Japan,
ecological
and China.
Paw print.
Average size.
Ecological paw print. We're actually talking about this.
Dog. These are like tons of emissions. So when you're thinking about my dog, like really, they are responsible for X amount of emissions. I mean, none of this is even comparable to one cell phone, but okay. When The Independent covered this story, they went so far as to say that you just shouldn't have pets then. Now look at this. This is how they conclude coverage of this. This guy, that guy there who, I'm sorry to judge, but he does look like a vegan. My tough message is that the UK cannot achieve its carbon goals or protect our remaining scraps of biodiversity if we maintain this unsustainable huge number of pets. So please gently tell your friends not to get a new pet or to replace their current pet when it passes to pet heaven, unless they absolutely have to. Now, when they originally published this story, they misprinted the amount of EPP that cats were responsible for. It wasn't in the millions, it's in the thousands. But still, they say it's your pet. Your pet is ruining the earth. Now, even if we were sure that greenhouse gas emissions were harming the planet, which we are not,
Blame the cat.
the numbers don't bear out that individual families or people could do much to stop it. In fact, industrialization and transportation are major sources of greenhouse gases. And guess what else? When you think of like what we could target to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, war is a big one.
The biggest, isn't it the biggest?
Well, yeah, let's take a look. According to this, let's see, where did we get this? From militaryemissions.org. If the military was a country, its emissions would be bigger than Russia, like all of Russia, all of Japan, right? In the US, it's estimated that the military has a higher footprint, the US military alone, than Portugal or Denmark. So by some calculations, this is the thing causing greenhouse emissions if we're really going to get serious about that. So here's a choice, everyone. You can give up your right to loving a domestic animal in your family, or you can give up warring. If those were your choices, what would you pick? It's like we're choosing the smallest thing, right? And then allowing our governments to just war with wild abandon.
I mean, I do love just randomly bombing Syria and Yemen and Saudi and wherever else. So I'll give up my dog.
Yep.
I already did my part. I switched to all CFL light bulbs back in the mid 2000s.
You're good then.
You got rid of fluorescence.
That's my one. Yeah, I outfitted my whole house with those damn things, so I did my part, so I'm done.
Filled with mercury. When they explode, they shoot mercury in your eyeballs.
Right. Now, also recall that the United States peaked in carbon emissions within the last 20 years. So did Germany. China is indicating that they did earlier than target. So if we've already peaked at carbon emissions, why do we have to give up our dogs? That doesn't make sense, right? And especially now, today all the rhetoric is about mental health. Well, pets are decidedly good for mental health. Here is another recent study that showed how dogs can help people with sleep apnea, and other sleep disorders, which are on the rise. So when you consider this, how good we know animals are for human connection, and we consider that there are way bigger things that we could be tackling if we really wanted to reduce greenhouse emissions. You keep that in mind when you start seeing all of this anti-pet legislation. That's a new term that probably you don't like hearing, but listen for it. In fact, the people of Colorado recently were asked to pay a pet tax of up to $25 per pet. That includes reptiles, snakes, goldfish, $25 tax to get a goldfish, and they absolutely revolted. They said, no, dog. Nah, dog, we're not doing that. So this is from a pro reptile association called US ARC. It summarized the bill, which would add this tax of up to $25 on each domestic tax. And look at the update. It says, after receiving overwhelming opposition from concerned Coloradans and animal welfare organizations, the bill sponsor just shut it down. That was an absolutely no. I just think, can you imagine thinking you're saving the planet by reducing animal companionship? It's the dumbest thing I ever heard. And I will leave you with this very pro animal companion quote: "A dog is the only thing on earth that loves you more than he loves himself." Now that's my son, Miles, cuddling with our dog, Grover. It looks like Grover may not want that cuddle, but he loves Miles so much that he's willing to stay there.
Be used as a pillow. Yes,
and be used as a snuggly puppy. So let us know what you think. Are domestic animals all the problems we've got to solve in this world, or is this barking mad?
This is crazy. I mean, my little Grover sleeps with me every night, and you'd have to,
he does,
over my cold dead hands, I would take
How could somebody not know that like saying things like that's a good way to get yourself a black eye? Like, I'm going to take your dog. Like the hell you are.
I know.
Try it.
Yeah.
That's the premise of John Wick. I mean,
Exactly. Yeah. Like, is that what we want? Is a nation full of John Wicks? Like everybody capable of doing it would do it. We don't need that.
Are you back?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I am. I'm back.
I'm gonna need a gun.
I'm gonna need a gun. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video.
What do you guys think? You guys ready to give up your dog to save the planet? So I figured that right there will get all the people that aren't in it for, that don't have kids, but they usually have pets that they think are their kids, or they treat them as their kids or children. And so, for all the ones that weren't too interested in doing it for the kids, they can do it for the pets now, So that maybe that some of the ones who thought, well, shoot, we'll grab the dog and we'll go. Like, no, they're going to make sure that you don't have a dog. Okay, now we'll fight. All right, I guess now we're ready to fight. Okay. I got to figure out why this little bar keeps coming up down here. What am I doing wrong? Weird. Oh, stop sharing it. I just didn't set it up right. Yeah, I did it again. What? It's weird. There's like this little bar at the bottom of the screen now. Wasn't there before. I don't remember it being there at all. Hold on. It's really strange. Let me try doing this. All right, so next we're gonna start to get into some topics that have to do with tonight's show, tonight's chapter. Now, this next guy I'm gonna bring up here, I don't think we've had him on before, but make sure I get the right tab here. Move that to here. Okay, so we're gonna do that, and I got some other cool things that kind of go along with I got every propaganda technique explained in 11 minutes, and I got some other stuff like that. So a couple little addendums, and then we'll head over to do the chapter. But right now, this is Omogi Blog TV. I think he's African, but he's got some pretty cool stuff. So I wanted to go ahead and highlight this because it has to do with the radio takeover. Soros has just set to control the second largest chain of radio stations, right? So it goes into kind of that mainstream mind control theme of the chapter tonight. All right, so we'll try it now, see if it works. Oh no, it's back. I don't know what's going on. Okay, you guys see it? It's this little bar down here. See that? That wasn't there before, and now it's there. I hate it. I don't like it. All right, let's just watch it anyway.
Well, would you look at this? George Soros,
hey,
group
Nate, how you doing?
is buying the second largest chain of radio stations, which happens to be Odyssey, which happens to be the company that I used to work for.
We must,
dude, listen to how much he struggles to like read this. This is almost painful to listen to.
Reorient our international financial institutions, particularly the World Bank.
Yes, this is shocking. George Soros' fund poised to take control of nation's
Hold on. We're going to need this.
second largest chain of radio stations. This is scary. Just during the election period, now he wants to take over radio stations. According to this article recently published by the New York Post, George Soros is poised to take a massive stake in the nation's second largest radio company, which owns more than 220 stations nationwide, according to court filing and sources close to the situation.
Well, would you look at this? George Soros, his group, is buying the second largest chain of radio stations, which happens to be Odyssey, which happens to be the company that I used to work for. I could tell you a lot about this company. It's almost as if they've had this thing planned out for years. There used to be a company called Entercom. They were a great company to work for. They focused on local business, local situations. They had local talent, unlike other radio stations who just pipe in talent from out of market. Could be somebody in Chicago and they're on the air on, 20 different radio stations all around the country. Then they became Odyssey. So now Odyssey does exactly what I just said. They started pumping in talent from all around the world. Now I was doing great with Odyssey and did great with Entercom and was let go for reasons that I was let go for, which I'll get to here. It's right when they became Odyssey, things started to get a little bit weird for that company. They started to become very DEI based. I have plenty of examples of this. You can go back and listen to past episodes of my podcast or just scroll through these videos here. This company fired all of their talent that was not really in line with where they were going. They weren't blatant about it. They didn't tell you exactly what was going on, but the writing was on the wall. And I had some managers that were like, look, you guys got to adjust. You got to do this or, it's not going to look good, but we never did. And we constantly called the company out on the radio. We constantly called out their DEI bullshit and their very woke amount of bullshit and all the pharmaceutical ads that they used to play. I called them out all the time. And I got in a lot of trouble from my managers and my general managers, and supposedly corporate was listening and watching my social media. And eventually I was let go, probably for those reasons, which is what I was going to get to. But now it all makes sense. Now it's as if they had this planned out from the beginning. They 5, 6, 7 years ago, whenever they changed names, already were planning on becoming this woke corporation funded by Soros. Now, you might be like, well, it's radio. Who cares about radio? Here's the thing. Odyssey isn't just a radio company. They run podcasts. They are a huge advertising firm, and they put on some of the biggest concerts in the country. So with Soros's money, in one of the second largest radio chains in the country, probably even the world, what do you think is going to happen this year? It's going to be interesting to see. Odyssey sucks.
Yes, I'm always impressed when I see videos like this. This is someone that has worked with this company for a very long time. He saw exactly what is going on, like you just saw.
Do you guys remember the woman she was the Hillary Clinton aide who is also the wife of Anthony Weiner? Well, she is in a new relationship apparently with none other than the son of George Soros. People were shocked when Valentine's Day hit and pictures of those two together started surfacing, which is definitely an interesting couple for so many different reasons. Not to mention the age gap. When an age gap is not a big deal, but typically you will not see a 47-year-old woman with a 38-year-old man, especially a man who's never been married, and she does have a child. And there she is on the other side with her ex-husband, Anthony Weiner. And speaking of George Soros, the 93-year-old billionaire, he made the news recently as he is set to be the controller of the second biggest U.S. network for radio. He might be controlling 220 radio stations. And apparently he is doing this by offering a $400 million bailout to save them from bankruptcy.
There was one paragraph on this article published by the New York Post, very interesting. One insider close to the situation, noting that he was a Republican, said he believed it was possible Soros was buying the state to exert influence on public opinion in the months leading up to 2024 presidential elections. That is it. We all know exactly why this is happening. Sources told the Post that Soros' stake is equal to 40% of the company's senior debt, a massive chunk which, although not a majority, could yield effective control of the media giant when it emerges from bankruptcy. That is it. There is another video. I don't know if you have seen this.
Dollars. Now, he will not be the main owner of the company, but he will have a major influence. Now, this company, you may not have heard of them before, but they own a lot of stations across the country. Here in Michigan, in the Detroit area, they own WWJ Radio. They own lots of stations with dozens and hundreds of news departments in the United States. So what influence may he have on these stations? That's yet to know. But I know you will leave your comment below.
About people. And, we just heard this point about untrustworthy people. And we talked about things in the United States like checks and balances, which aren't written anywhere, but are customs. And one man, Donald Trump, literally came in and just took that all away.
Yes, thank you guys. Always been there sharing out my videos. God bless you abundantly.
Affable that you would, or anyone would describe Davos as protecting liberal democracy. And elites tell us that open borders and even illegal immigration are okay.
Divided by class. My spirit name is Ozawa Makwa. To my work.
And coming as a white man, next week or so, right? That old world vision is rearing its head again that says the people cannot be trusted to self-govern. They'll ruin themselves, right?
Oh, you want people to get rid of cows? Are you sure?
I think this is Donald Trump's fault.
Wait. Watch this. Water there?
I hate my job.
Hey, that's not fair. Yeah, it was the last part. Yeah. Now that's not fair to The Rock because that was a bit. So he got booed because of what the the bit they were doing for the build up to the WrestleMania. So that wasn't accurate. But okay, that was about it. Easily could be misconstrued if you don't watch wrestling. So yeah, Soros is buying up media. And why? Why do people need media so bad? Why they need the radio? Why they need to control podcasts and concerts and what's said at concerts and what's on the wall at concerts and who sponsors them and why in the world would they want to do all that? Well, because then they could execute these propaganda techniques, right? So here we go. Let's go through, and in the next 11 minutes, we'll be explained every propaganda technique. You guys got your notepads out? So you can learn a lot from this one. You probably recognize a lot of them, but I thought this was interesting, and we could review these together. I haven't watched the entire video, but I watched enough of it to say, yeah, they know what they're talking about. Let's do this. Hold on. What did you guys say in the chat here? Anything in particular interesting linking Soros to Clinton? Dude, they were in bed together their entire administration. Yeah, they were talking about that the other night. When were we talking? Oh, last week. Yeah, last week on the chapter 7 discussed their connection. Maybe that's what you were talking about. But yeah, no, that's what they were saying, that the Obamas and were not as keen to working with Soros or having a close relationship with Soros like the Clintons. I guess. No, I'm sorry, the Bushes. The Bushes weren't. So when the Bushes took over from the Clintons the first time, I guess the only time. But I kind of I see the whole party as the same thing. So like, Clinton, Obama, it's the same thing, right? I just don't. Just whoever's in the front gets the limelight, but they're all working together. They all want the same thing. But yeah, the link, their foundations and all other stuff, man. They love each other. In fact, they were saying that Soros funded most of their campaigns. In the 1940s, Juan Perón close down all media that wasn't on his side to prolong his presidency and shut his people up. That's what fascists do. Yes, they do. Do they come in like this, like they, we need to really do something about this. They come at like it's never been done before. Oh, you mean, do the most authoritarian thing ever? No. It's just for our own, safety and democracy and stuff. Do you remember the movie Good Morning Vietnam? The government controlled what Robin's character could read on the news. Yeah, that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I remember that movie. Good Morning Vietnam. Yeah, open borders, but their entrance doors are always closed. Yep, gated communities. That is scary. Even talking trash to troops knew it was a wrestling bit. Yeah, I mean, that's what you could expect when you see them. Like, you see The Rock up there looking like that, getting booed by the crowd, and that was real. Yeah. Oh, follow the money. Okay, yeah, maybe it was chapter 6. That then it's the one that says the open society one. It's the open society scam. That's what it was. Or the society, yeah. So one of those things. One of them. The thing, All right, here we go. Every propaganda technique explained in 11 minutes. Rocket.
Agenda setting. It's the ability of the news to influence the importance placed on certain topics by public opinion, just by covering them frequently and prominently. Appeal to fear. Appeals to fear seek to build support by instilling anxiety and panic in the general population. Appeal to prejudice. Using prejudices to attach value or moral goodness to something. Inevitable victory. Invites those not already on the bandwagon to join those already on the road to certain victory. Those already, or at least partially, on.
Did I start at the beginning? Right? Agenda setting? Did you guys see that, or is it just cruising through that fast? No sound? Okay, hold on. Sorry about the no sound, really? Get rid of that. Okay. Oh, okay. I saw what Daisy said. One more time. Take 2 and action.
Agenda setting. It's the ability of the news to influence the importance placed on certain topics by public opinion, just by covering them frequently and prominently. Appeal to fear. Appeals to fear seek to build support by instilling anxiety and panic in the general population. Appeal to prejudice. Using prejudices to attach value or moral goodness to something. Inevitable victory. Invites those not already on the bandwagon to join those already on the road to certain victory. Those already, or at least partially, on the bandwagon are reassured that staying aboard is their best course of action. Join the crowd. This technique is used to convince the audience that a program is an expression of an irresistible mass movement and that it is in their best interest to join. Beautiful people. This technique is usually used in advertising instead of politics. It's the type of propaganda that deals with famous people or depicts attractive, happy people. This suggests that if people buy a product or follow a certain ideology, they too will be happy or successful. Big lie. The main belief behind this technique is that people will more easily fall victim to a big lie than to a small one. It could happen because others are at a loss for where to even begin to refute it. Classical conditioning. Everyone responds to classical conditioning, which is a behavioral procedure in which a natural stimulus is associated with a neutral stimulus enough times to create the same response by using just the neutral one. Cognitive dissonance. It exploits people's desire to be consistent. For example, if an analyst finds that a certain group of people hate his candidate for senator but love actor A, he could use actor A's endorsement of their candidate to change people's minds. Plain folk. It attempts to convince the audience that the propagandist's positions reflect the common sense of the people. It is designed to win the confidence of the audience by communicating in the common manner and style of the target audience. A common example of this type of propaganda is a political figure, usually running for a placement in a backyard or shop doing daily routine things. Cult of personality. A cult of personality arises when an individual uses mass media to create an idealized and heroic public image, often through unquestioning flattery and praise. The hero personality then advocates the positions that the propagandist desires to promote. Demonizing the enemy. Making individuals from the opposing side appear to be subhuman, worthless, or immoral. Demoralization. Propaganda directed at an adversary to erode fighting spirit and encourage surrender or defection. Diktat. This technique hopes to simplify the decision-making process by using images and words to tell the audience exactly what action to take, eliminating any other possible choices. Disinformation. The creation or deletion of information from public records for the purpose of making a false record of an event or the actions of a person or organization, including faking photographs, videos, and sound recordings as well as printed documents. Divide and rule. It means gaining and maintaining power by breaking up larger concentrations of power into pieces that individually have less power than the one implementing the strategy. Using euphemism. An euphemism is a generally innocuous word or expression used in place of one that may be found offensive or suggests something unpleasant. Euphoria. Using an appealing event that generates happiness to boost morale, such as a military parade with marching bands and patriotic messages, or making luxury items available. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Sometimes abbreviated as FUD, it's an attempt to influence public perception by disseminating negative and dubious false information designed to undermine the credibility of their beliefs. It could be considered a manifestation of the appeal to fear technique. Fire hose of falsehood. It's a propaganda technique in which a large number of messages are broadcast rapidly, repetitively, and continuously over multiple channels, such as news and social media, without regard for truth or consistency. Flag waving. It's an attempt to justify an action on the grounds that doing so will make one more patriotic or in some way benefit a group, country, or idea. Flack. Efforts to discredit or cast doubt on the prevailing assumptions. Foot in the door technique, often used by recruiters and salesmen. For example, the perpetrator walks up to the victim and pins a flower or gives a small gift to the victim. The victim says thanks, and now they have incurred a psychological debt to the perpetrator. The person eventually asks for a larger favor. Framing. It happens when, in order to persuade a political audience of one side of an argument or another, the facts are presented through a rhetorical frame that shifts the individual's perception. Gish gallop. Bombarding a political opponent with obnoxiously complex questions in rapid fire during a debate to make the opponent appear to not know what they are talking about. Glittering generality. Glittering generalities are emotionally appealing words that are applied to a product or idea, but present no concrete argument or analysis. It has the intent of associating the product or idea with an already established feel-good value in the mind of the audience. They ask for approval without examination of the reason. Guilt by association. This technique is used to persuade a target audience to disapprove of an action or idea by suggesting that the idea is popular among disliked groups. Half-truth. A half-truth is a deceptive statement that includes some element of truth. It comes in several forms. The statement might be partly true, the statement may be totally true, but only part of the whole truth, or it may utilize some deceptive element, such as improper punctuation. Information overload. When an entity floods a certain topic with an enormous amount of information in order to increase the difficulty of understanding an issue and effectively making decisions, it can have the same effect as secrecy. For the first time, I'll actually give you guys a solution to this technique, since the line between news and propaganda is maybe the blurriest it's ever been. This solution is available thanks to our sponsor, Ground News, which is an app and website that lets you see how a single news story is being covered around the world and across the political spectrum. Let me show you how it works. Take a look at this story on North Korea's response to anti-Pyongyang propaganda leaflets. I can see that this story has been covered by 25 sources, including 7 that are left-leaning while only 2 are right-leaning. If I scroll down, I can see which sources reported on this story and where they fall on the political spectrum according to ratings from 3 independent news monitoring organizations. If you'd like to learn more about how those ratings are calculated, you can go to the methodology page. On the left side of the page, we can see every article about this topic and compare headlines. For example, this headline might seem more moderate if compared against this other headline.
That's interesting.
What's great is that next to every headline, you get context about the source, like who owns it, how reliable it is, and if they have a political bias. They even have a blind spot feed, which shows you stories that are disproportionately covered by one side of the political spectrum. Sometimes these stories are important issues that you might be missing if you're stuck in a media bubble. We live in a world where it has become incredibly difficult to identify the truth, which is why ground news is such a necessary tool. By comparing coverage, you can start to see a through line of facts. I really think what they're doing is important, and I encourage you to check them out. If you go to ground.news/thepaintexplainer, you'll get 30% off of their Vantage plan, which includes unlimited access to every feed. Channel. You'll also be Sound News for sponsoring today's video. Intentional vagueness. Saying something so vague as to be meaningless or open to multiple interpretations. In so doing, the vagueness distracts attention from legitimate concerns or questions. Labeling. Describing someone, something, or a group with a derogatory word or phrase. Latitudes of acceptance.
That one right there, labeling. We see that one a lot, don't we?
In order to make someone agree to something that he doesn't agree with, a more extreme stance on the subject could be first taken, so that when the actual moderate argument is presented, it seems more acceptable. Another technique could consist in moderating one's own position to kind of match the target's beliefs, and then over time, slowly moving to the one that was previously held. Limited hangout. It happens when someone's veil of secrecy is shredded, and he can no longer rely on a phony cover story to misinform the public. He resorts to admitting, sometimes even volunteering, some of the truth while still managing to withhold the key and damaging facts in the case. The public is usually so intrigued by the new information that it never thinks to pursue the matter further. Loaded language. Specific words and phrases with strong emotional implications that are used to influence the audience. Love bombing. Love bombing is a technique used to recruit someone to a cult or ideology by bombarding him with affection in an attempt to isolate him from his prior beliefs, values, and social support. Milieu control. Controlling someone's communication style and environment through the use of social pressure and group language. An example could be slang that enables group members to identify other members. If the communication style becomes too peculiar, it might result in isolation from the surrounding society. Obfuscation. It happens when a message is intentionally made difficult to understand. Operant conditioning. Operant conditioning is a learning process where behaviors are modified through the association of stimuli with reinforcement or punishment. Oversimplification. Favorable generalities are used to provide simple answers to complex problems. Paltering. Paltering is the active use of selective, truthful statements to mislead. Pensée unique. Enforced reduction of discussion through the use of overly simplistic phrases or arguments. Quotes out of context. Selective editing of quotes that can change meanings. Rationalization. Rationalization is a defense mechanism in which people justify difficult or unacceptable feelings with seemingly logical reasons and explanations. Repetition.
Actually,
this refers to the repetition of a certain symbol or slogan so that the audience remembers it. Scapegoating.
Printing, yeah.
Assigning blame to an individual or group, thus alleviating feelings of guilt from responsible parties or distracting attention from the need to fix the problem. Semantic satiation. This technique has the intent of lessening the impact of a certain word by repeating it and using it for trivial accusations. The word becomes more normalized and does not have the same negative impact. Smear campaign. A smear campaign is an intentional, premeditated effort to undermine an individual's or group's reputation. Testimonials. Testimonials are quotations in or out of context that are cited to support something. Third-party technique exploits the fact that people are more willing to accept an argument from a seemingly independent source of information than from someone with a stake in the outcome. Transfer. It's a technique of projecting positive or negative qualities of a person onto another one to make the second one more acceptable or to discredit him. Unstated assumption. This technique is used when the propaganda concept would seem less credible if explicitly stated. The concept is instead repeatedly assumed or implied. Whataboutism. It's a technique that attempts to discredit an opponent's position by charging them with hypocrisy without directly refuting or disproving their argument. Misuse of statistics. Reporting statistics in such a way as to inappropriately alter people's perceptions on a certain topic. Many propaganda techniques use logical fallacies or biases to reach their goals. In this video, I've excluded the ones I already talked about in these two videos. Go check them out.
Nice. All right. Well, I hope you guys learned something from that because we'll be going over propaganda most likely tonight. I haven't listened to the chapter yet, but when I heard the name of the chapter, mainstream mind control, I can only think of mainstream media. Mainstream entertainment, I guess. So I thought that would be good to run through that before we journey on. And those are pretty interesting, huh? It went by pretty quick though. But hopefully you got some of those. You can always rewind it and take notes if you want. You want the channel name? That was the Paint Explainer. The Paint Explainer. Wait, is there a pop quiz in the stream? There should be. No, at the end of the stream, we're gonna do. I'm gonna talk about that UN summit that's coming up and how it applies to the interview that Tucker did with Brent Weinstein about the WHO. But I did get a little bit of a rundown on this Summit of the Future, which this year is they're going to be trying to, I guess you can interpret what they're saying as they're trying to get everybody to kind of sign on to their oversight for the agenda. And we'll look through it some. Basically, this year is called Pact for the Future, and it's an action-oriented pact for the future will be endorsed by heads of states and governments at Summit, showcasing global solidarity for current and future generations. In other words, signing on to the agenda. Sounds like it to me. But we'll take a look at that after we read. And speaking of reading, it's about that time, isn't it? All right. Well, I hope you guys over here on YouTube enjoyed the pre-show here before we get to reading, because YouTube, because of the way they have things set up, we cannot read this book on YouTube, and we enjoy going over to the free speech platforms, which I have not linked in the chat yet, but I'm going to here in a second. All right. And in the description as well, full stream links are in there. And here come the links now. All right. There we go. And they're pinned. Oh, yeah. Well, dang, we're at 50%. 14 votes in. And we got a tie. What are we going to do with that? We got to get out of here. Someone want to break the tie? If you haven't voted in the poll yet, please vote. Break the tie. Break the tie. Break the tie. 14 votes in. Has everybody here voted? Okay, Ellie, you didn't vote. Ellie, break the tie. Were you here for the explanation of the two books? Do you need me to run them down? Bud can't decide. Okay. we gotta get this poll into before we leave, guys. We gotta do it. So, The Great Awakening is it's brand new. It's just come out. Woke Inc. is a few years old. It's been around for a while. Oh, thank you for that. Hold on.
Oh my!
Tiebreaker for the poll. Boobies. All right. Thank you for the $10. What for? I appreciate that. Oh, yeah. If you're over on Rumble and haven't voted on YouTube yet, I wish I could do polls on Rumble. We got 16 votes. We're still tied. We've got 2 more votes that cancel each other out. Oh, man. Okay. Well, I haven't voted yet. So I think I know which way I'm leaning. I know, right? It's all right. I think we'll just leave it at a tie. All right. We got okay, polls ending in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0. Okay, polls ended. And we got a tie. All right. Well, I'm glad you guys are excited for both of these books. Right? I know. And I'm going to break the tie. That's not what I wanted to do, but it's okay. I think I know which one we're going to do. I think we're going to do the one that makes the most sense to follow up, I think. All right. Let me stop sharing this. We're done with that. And you know, I had another video called "Every Psychological Trap Explained in 13 Minutes," but I'll play that another. I'll save that. Play that another time. That's pretty good too. It's kind of like the last one. Too many good choices. That's a problem, right? My kid voted for Alex Jones. Nice. My kids voted nice. Okay, guys, it's that time. Thank you for joining me over here on YouTube. It's time for us to go over to the free speech platforms to do the reading. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for being here on YouTube and getting the show started over here. Thank you for all the likes and everything, because it really does help, and I appreciate it very, very much. So keep it up, and I'll see you over on the free speech platforms. Let's go.
Everyone's tensed up for a rumble.